Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nature Cure Summit, where we are talking all about the fact that all you really need to heal, grow, and thrive can be found in nature, the universe, and within yourself. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and throughout the summit, I promise to bring you experts from all across the globe through a variety of different healing modalities and philosophies to really help you harness the power of nature so you can live your best life. Today, I am super excited to bring to you an expert who is really going to be talking about not just healing your body, but also healing your mind so that you can really overcome those things that are holding you back and use nutrition and health to flourish and thrive. So Emmy Kirschner is a holistic health coach. She's a motivator, an inspirational speaker, and she helps women, executives, and people from all walks of life to overcome emotional eating, to handle stress so that they can really excel and do the things that they really want to do in life and live their true purpose. So Emmy, thank you so much for being part of the Nature Cure Summit. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really so excited to be here.
Oh, Emmy, it's so great to have you. I really believe that emotional eating, which is a topic we're going to talk about today, and even dealing with a lot of stressors in your life, that's something that resonates with many people listening today. And it's something that's kind of taboo about talking about sometimes. We feel as though like we should know what to eat and why don't we eat it, right? Like a logical mind wants to think that we have it covered because we know, but knowing without doing is the same thing as not knowing oftentimes. Yeah, so exactly. Before we get into that whole topic though, many of us in the health space, we're here for a reason, and a lot of times this is driven by our own personal experiences. So I'd love for you to share what got you interested in nutrition and health in the first place.
Sure. It's really been an evolution over, I can't believe it, 17 years. So it's been a really long time and I love it. But the catalyst for me was when my son, who just turned 18 in January, was a baby. He had just turned a year. He'd had a couple of ear infections and we were switching him over to milk. Suddenly he started having digestive issues. And, you know, I was a new mom, kind of an uptight mom.
We all are, I think.
Like, this is the first one. But, you know, we went to the pediatrician and we went to some specialists and we had all these tests done. And, you know, nothing was coming back as far as the tests. The gastroenterologist had no idea what was wrong with him. And the last pediatric gastroenterologist that we saw was just, you know, said, look, you know, all the tests that came back, we have no idea. You know, give him some more olive oil so he doesn't lose any more weight. And it'll slow down his digestion a little bit and, you know, see you later.
Oh, wow. That's really disempowering.
Yeah. You know, and I just was like, ugh. So it really, like, this is my kid. Like, you know, you can't just, you know, continue to have this happen. So I was very determined and I started reading everything I could get my hands on. And it was kind of a funny time because it was one of those moments where prior to him becoming, you know, or having these issues, I had just started learning to cook and I'd been getting into, you know, organic farming and eating and local farmers markets and all of that fun stuff. So I started changing what we were eating, but then I started like reading some of the food labels. I was like, wow, this is so not food. There's MSG in this? You know, why would you do that?
Right. A lot of times we think like we're eating healthy because it says healthy on the package or it says whole grains or, you know, it has some catchphrase to make us feel like the food we're eating is healthy, but, you know, it's not what's on the front of the package. I always tell my patients it's what's on the back on the ingredient label that you really have to look at.
Yeah, and it's read the ingredients if nothing else. Like for me, that's far more important than the calories or anything else. But it helped me move forward and because I could see like where we weren't eating healthy and I started reading the ingredients. There's like little things would set him off and my goal was to eliminate all of those.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a lot of trial and error because, you know, at 14, 15 months old, regardless of how verbal your child may be, they're not saying, oh, those grapes, Yeah, no, until it
Yeah,
comes out.
really, that's a difficult thing at that age. Like, you know, you're just trying, like, you should see, like, when I try to feed my 22-month-old son, I prepare like 3 or 4 different meals hoping that he'll want one of them.
Yeah, and they cycle. So
Right.
yeah, it's a challenging time, I think, in the food, world for them. But doing that really gave me the understanding of how healing food could be
Mm.
for you, for not only your health, not only for healing disease, but to create health, to create a healthy body, to be sick less, to have amazing energy, and also have the mindset. I truly believe that, when you're making the investment to nourish your body, properly and really well with high quality food, it affects how you're thinking about yourself and everything around you too.
Wow. So you were able to, just through nutrition, bring your son back to health?
Yeah. I mean, it took me a year and a half. It was a while.
Wow.
So,
But that's incredible. I mean, just that really is a testament to the healing power of food.
yeah.
Without being on medications or going for treatments at the hospital, like being able to bring him from, unable to gain weight, difficulty with digestion, to being able to be healthy and thriving. And, obviously you said he's 18 years old now, so he made it.
Yeah, he's good. And he eats a lot of different things, and, is a typical 18-year-old teenage boy. So he's all good. Yeah.
Wonderful. So perfect. Yeah. So I love that segue. Let's segue into emotional eating. Like, I know there's a lot of people struggling with, maybe they're not even sure if it's called emotional eating. So maybe let's start with, what's the definition of emotional eating? Like, how do you know if what you're doing is considered emotional eating?
If you've eaten, you're eating something and you're upset, if you're eating, a large volume, like you ate the whole box of cookies and you don't know how they all, they all disappeared. If you're feeling really stressed and your go-to is, cheese and crackers, any of those things can be emotional eating.
Okay. So it doesn't always have to be a bad emotion, correct? Like, some people eat when they're happy. And, I found that when I was in medical school, I would eat a lot when I was studying. And I believe I was doing it because I didn't want to have to deal with that difficult problem I was trying to solve. And so I was diverting, like, my brain waves to something that felt good instead of something that felt bad. Do you find that people often will use food to make them feel good when they're maybe mentally not feeling good?
Exactly. And for different reasons, like we're looking for different ways to satisfy ourselves. So, maybe you're feeling sad and you want to feel happy. You want some comfort food. There's any number of different things that you could be eating for, but it's really that piece where you're not conscious about it.
Okay.
That I think is a really big difference.
Is there a reason why women tend to eat more emotionally than men do?
I think so. I mean, I work primarily with women, so, I mean, my survey is a little limited, but I think women are definitely more open to, yes, I eat emotionally.
Okay. Yeah.
Guys tend to be a little more black and white about it.
Exactly. Or maybe we just know about women eating more, but maybe guys are doing it too and they were just not talking about it.
I'm sure that's the case.
Exactly. So do people who are emotional eaters, do they always eat food that's bad for them, or do some people just eat, like, if I eat a whole bowl of broccoli, would you not consider that emotional eating?
A little bit of both. It is, if you're eating a huge amount of, like, broccoli and you're not aware. Like, we are generally disconnected from our food. It's something we do as we're, on our way to someplace else, to go someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about how many times people eat in their car,
Yes.
or, they're just like, I don't have time to eat, or while you were studying, for instance, you probably really took that time to sit and have a proper meals outside of when you were doing your schoolwork.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed I would snack a lot, and then I wouldn't even be hungry when the mealtime came around.
Right.
And so, do you notice that people who emotional eat have trouble with getting the correct nutrition in at meal times? Like, are they not eating balanced because they're emotional eating?
Yeah, they are, because say, and this is what I see most of the time, is that either they're busy moms or they're at work and they don't eat like all day. And then either from when they get in the car, when they get home, while they're making dinner or they're doing something else, they're snacking. And whatever they're snacking on is not the healthiest of food.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I find that a lot with my patients. I work with a lot of moms. So a lot of times when people are trying to lose weight, for instance, they'll save up their calories by not eating all day. And then at some point the willpower gives out and then they start eating. And so what's a good way to break that cycle? Like, what do you recommend for people who say, like, yeah, they're listening to this, they're like, yeah, I am definitely an emotional eater. Like, how do you get out of that?
Some of it's bringing the awareness in. So I start with having my clients pay attention, and for instance, with like the snacking, from car or from when they get home or whatever till when they make dinner, sometimes they're not even aware of how much they've eaten. So it's like portion out, this is your snack, kind of like you would do for a toddler.
Okay.
Right. And see if you're full after that. Right. And that's really, and then it's looking at, well, what am I trying to satisfy? So somebody, for instance, who has to have ice cream after dinner, even though they're not hungry, ice cream and things that are creamy and smooth like that is typically a signal that you're looking for comfort, that you need a hug, or you're looking.
How many calories would you say is in a hug?
0. Right. So it's being aware of that. Like, what am I really looking for? And one of the things you can do is just take a minute and shut your eyes and be like, what's going to satisfy me? And while you may have, the first several times you ask yourself that, the big chocolate chip.
Right. All right. That's what I was thinking. Like, people are going to close their eyes and be like, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate.
Get past that piece. Just keep asking yourself and it'll come.
Okay.
And it's also, even if maybe you go for the chocolate or the ice cream or the cake or whatever it is that your thing is, at some point in the middle of that, you will start being aware of, oh, I'm doing it again. So you can kind of back that up slowly. It's a practice. I'd love to say, in 5 days you can, not emotionally eat ever again, but it really is a mindfulness piece and an awareness of, and paying attention to your food that takes some time to master that skill, but it's really powerful because it shows up in other places in your life. Like, where else are you not present and mindful in your life?
Oh, that's really powerful. So if someone was looking to overcome emotional eating, like, maybe it's not focusing on the emotional eating, maybe it's focusing on the times when you could be mindful when you're eating. So I love, like, not focusing on the negative and actually, like, let's not think about what you're doing that's wrong. Let's think about what you could do that's right.
Right.
And so maybe that means sitting down, like, not skipping lunch and sitting down to lunch and actually having lunch with lunch and not having lunch on the run or in the car like I did at my computer, like actually having lunch and looking at your food and smelling it and tasting it. And I think, like, doing that, like what you're saying is, by doing that, that might divert the emotional eating later in the day because you already were present with your food. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. And not only that, but you're going to feel more satisfied. So those food cravings that you get, and even your energy level will balance out some because you paid attention. Your body actually recognized that you ate something. If you slow down and chew thoroughly, which most of us don't do.
Yes, I just had this conversation with one of my patients just earlier today about chewing.
Yeah, I
so
love
basic.
Chewing. We have chewing games at my dinner table with my kids.
Let's talk about that. So some people are saying, like, why are they talking about chewing? Of course I chew my food. But what is the proper way to actually chew your food, and why would you want to chew it that way?
So your digestion starts in the mouth. It does not start in your stomach. And when you're not chewing your food enough, like if you just chew it once or twice and then swallow it, the enzymes that start breaking down the proteins and the fats and the carbs don't have time to kind of get in action in your mouth. and to start breaking those down. So then your stomach has to work harder. The food doesn't actually digest properly, and you're not absorbing nutrients.
Awesome. So how many times do you chew your food?
Well, it depends. So obviously a piece of lettuce doesn't need as many chews as, a steak or chicken or a piece of meat or fish. So, it could vary anywhere from 5 to, 30.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's really interesting because like when I talk to people too, like your saliva, when it mixes with your food, you're actually mixing your DNA with that food. And when you swallow it, it's better received into your body. So yeah, I like that, like, because we talked about mindful eating, but that's a woo-woo kind of term, and people maybe like, mindful eating, what does that mean? But mindful eating could be chewing your food, like actually thinking about the act of chewing your food. And that's something that everybody can do at your next meal. Like everyone listening, like you could totally think about chewing your food until it's really broken down in your mouth, and you're going to taste different flavors. It really does change. And like Emmy said, digestion does start in your mouth. So that, I think that's a great like first step.
Well, and the cool thing for me is that like easy weight loss here is that because you're chewing and you're slowing down, you're giving your body time to recognize that you've eaten and to listen to when it's full. You'll eat less.
Yes, that's so true. Because if you're eating that whole, bag of cookies or box of something mindlessly and you're doing it without chewing, you're going to get it down a lot faster, right? And you're not going to register. So that's actually a really good tip.
Yeah, and I think my other piece is like, get away from your phone, turn off the TV, don't work and eat. Even if it's 5 minutes that you eat something separately before you go back, that you're still giving yourself time to really become aware of what you're eating. And that's what's important.
Yes. And do you think that people crave things because they're missing something, like a certain nutrient, or do you think that the cravings are more an emotional, something they're missing emotionally, or is it both?
Yeah, for most of my people, it's emotional, but there can be times like somebody who craves salt tends to be lacking, minerals. So it can be, and it's person to person. So I explore, both with whoever I'm talking to.
So if you work on the mindfulness piece, let's say we work on the positive and we work on being mindful about eating and eating our regular meals, but we don't deal with that underlying emotional issue that's actually the reason why we're eating. Like maybe we don't feel loved, or we feel anxious, or we're hiding something and we're afraid we're going to be found out, or whatever it might be. What happens at that point? Like how do you eventually have to address, I'm assuming you'd eventually have to address that.
I mean, that's my whole goal, is to get to the, if you're eating emotionally, whether you're upset or you need a hug or whatever it is, once you know that, then the next step is creating a micro habit so that you have something else to fill the food space.
Okay. What might that be? Like what would be some examples?
So like, for instance, I just got off the phone with a client right before I hopped on Zoom with you. And we were talking about how she chose to eat cake because she was having a really frustrating day.
Okay.
She's like, and I knew I was eating at this time, and I knew why I was eating at this time. So I said, well, what are some other things you can do to, to kind of alleviate that frustration? Because you're going to be frustrated again. It's not like a one-time thing. Like life has moments when you're frustrated.
Yeah, so Emmy doesn't just put people in bubbles, right? That's not what you do.
I'm not. I'm pretty straight on. And she's like, well, I could go for a walk, or I could do some writing. I'm like, well, are those things that you want to do? She's like, yes. I said, and how real are they?
Yeah, there's a good question.
Right? Like how are you, going to go from, I'm cranky right now to let's go for a walk.
Right.
And maybe you don't have time for that. So what we worked out that she would do is she's going to, when she's feeling frustrated, she's going to consciously choose to take 2 minutes and to sit and just chill out. Now that's a practice. That doesn't mean that the next time she's having a bad day that, it's going to work perfectly. It's the repetition and the brain training that you need to create the micro habit.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Like actually just not telling yourself not to do something, but having something to do in its place. I
Right.
think that's the powerful part of it. And do you find that people, when they do come to you, they know they're emotional eating? If they know they're emotional eating, do they often know why, or does that take some digging?
That takes digging usually. Yeah. I mean, they may know that on, certain days they feel a certain way, or for instance, the coming home from work piece. They
Mhm.
know why they're doing it. They don't know how to stop it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that when I was younger, just a little bit about me, my grandfather used to always have his pockets full of candy whenever I used to see. And like that was one thing when we saw grandpa, like he'd give us candy and they were always these little like fruit flavored little round discs. And so as I got older, like my grandfather died when I was young, and I think it was when I was in college, I'd be eating whenever I felt sad, I would eat these fruit flavored candies, like, I don't know, Mike and Ike's or whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what they're called?
Super
Um,
healthy.
yeah, the way I don't remember, jujubes or whatever they are. But I would eat those all the time whenever I felt sad or lonely. And I didn't trace it back until a couple of years ago. I did an interview with Cynthia Pasquala, and
Okay.
we talked about it. And after the interview, I said, "Oh my God, I know why I used to eat those candies. It was because of I wanted to feel that feeling with my grandfather." So to me, that's actually like a positive feeling
Mhm.
that I was trying to rekindle. And
Right.
you see that sometimes too, like people are trying to bring back the comforts of home,
Mhm.
and it wasn't that I was in a bad place, but it just made me feel kind of warm and fuzzy inside.
Right. So let's say that was an issue for you. What I would ask you is, what other ways did you connect with him
Oh,
that you could
okay.
do that now without the food?
Yes, that's brilliant. That's actually very brilliant. Yeah, because I know, like, for me, it wasn't a problem, but it could very well have been a problem. And, there's a lot of people, especially men, who, like, associate, hanging out with the buddies with drinking a bunch of beers, and
Mhm.
that could be detrimental, if it carries on later on. A lot of the women, when you talked about stress, we all thought a glass of wine, right?
Right, right,
And it's not a problem. Like, I'm not against having a glass of wine, but it's something that you want to stop, then implementing another strategy that would be great. That
yeah,
sounds awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're talking about sounds simple, and it sounds like, oh yeah, like we know that. But the thing is, like, actually doing it, that is a practice.
it is a
Like
practice. And
saying you're going to, like your client who said, "Oh, I'll just go for a walk." Easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. It has
right,
to be something that you can do like on a fly, like a breathing exercise or a mantra or something like that.
right, right. And that's what's really important, is making it super small.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to, in anything we're doing, we tend to want to take this huge leap instead of taking a little baby bite.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the baby bite, because that's what's going to get you to the place of success and mastering the habit. And it's really, if you're taking one thing out of your life that you don't feel is, super positive, what positive thing can you put back in? Because you
Awesome.
don't want to have the void.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know a lot of people listening, like, this is something that really hits home for a lot of people listening. And it's really hard to make that change on your own. Like, I think having someone like you, Amy, to help you kind of step outside yourself and see what's going on. A lot of times it takes having a conversation, having someone to help you dig a little deeper. Do you find that most of your clients may have tried on their own to overcome it, but it really takes some help a lot of
Yeah.
times?
Most of my clients have spent a lot of time beating themselves up because they, they haven't mastered it, or they haven't figured it out, or they don't know what to do. So having that support gives them a lot of positivity. I think the other piece of what I teach all my clients too is, food is not good or bad. Don't categorize it, because then you're judging it.
Oh,
There's a place for cookies and cake and chocolate and all of those things. When you consciously choose to have those things and really enjoy them, as opposed to, either unconsciously or
Right.
guilty eating, you're going to have a whole new level of success and enjoyment, but your body's going to look at it a whole different way. When you're eating and you're feeling guilty, you're stressed.
Yes, that's so true. I love that because it's like if you get to have it, if you want to do it, then it's a wonderful, awesome, celebratory thing. But if you have to have it or you're doing it because it's an involuntary response, then that could be causing pain and anguish.
Right.
Beautiful. So Emmy, this has been incredible. I feel like I could speak to you for hours about this topic. Unfortunately, we have a short amount of time for the interview, but you do have an amazing free gift for someone who wants to dig in a little bit deeper into your work and what you do. Can you tell us about that free gift?
Well, I have an awesome and fun ebook. It's called Play With Your Food, the 4 Steps to Breaking the Diet Cycle. And in it, I talk about this. I talk about your inner critic and a number of other things that really help you change your mindset about how you look at eating healthy and then how to implement that in those baby bite-sized steps.
Awesome. I love the baby bites and play with your food. It's adorable. So definitely you guys, the link to that is right underneath this video. So go ahead and download that. You can learn more about Emmy and her work and even reach out to her if you need some help with emotional eating or anything around stress, anxiety. It has to do with food and nutrition. Emmy also coaches executives who are looking to get further in their business. So can you talk a little bit about that real quick? I know I do have a lot of entrepreneurs who are watching.
Yeah, so I mean, everything that I do has, some sort of food relation to it. And because of that, for me, how you eat is how you live your life. So again, bringing that mindfulness piece in, and I've seen this with a number of my clients, when they're more aware of what they're eating, their businesses grow tremendously. And there's a direct correlation because they're making different decisions. So I help my entrepreneurs and my executives that way so that they not only are feeling better, they're more clear, they're more driven. And some of these people are really, go-getters already, but they are really on target with what their purpose is.
Beautiful. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Emmy, so much for being here today. And thank you guys all for watching. I know you have so many choices with your time, and I really commend you for taking the time out to do something positive for your health and your future. So thank you so much for watching the Nature Cure Summit. We'll be back again tomorrow with some more great experts. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Hey there, it's Dr. Michelle, and I just wanted to commend you and thank you for spending a little bit of your day to do something empowering. I hope that you found value in today's content and that you'll go out and use this new information to improve your life, even in a small way. I want you to open up to the possibility of making today, this week, and this year the greatest possibility you've had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of old paradigms. It is about learning the act of living naturally. It's about honoring who you are and allowing all that is good into your life. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body you dream about, but more importantly, help you live the life you deserve. Remember, all that you need, you already have. It's right here, in nature and within yourself. So stay tuned for some more value-packed interviews and be sure to check out all of the resources at glownaturalmedicine.com.